Hello friends, today we will study the purpose and use of the arts as a complementary method, as a therapy in counseling. Now when we think of counseling, what does come to our mind? One aspect of counseling is we talk through things, we discuss, we reflect on it and then bring action change. This in case where there are issues and problems. Now other side of the same process is that some people can manage to talk, but some people cannot manage to talk. Now this is where we can use arts. Now you will have a question, which arts? What do we use in counseling? We can use all art forms in or as therapy. Music, drumming, drama, visual arts, movement, dance and so on. We can say simply playing with the basic elements of the arts is what we can use as a process in counseling. However, all these are used in conjunction along with specific therapeutic objectives or goals. We have to make a difference between use of arts as therapy and use of arts in therapy or counseling. Here what we are mostly focusing and studying is the use of arts in counseling. However, we will also glance at examples or explanations that tell us about arts as therapy. Now one question will pop up in our minds. Why use the arts in the process of counseling? Here it is important to understand that some people cannot access talking as a tool in counseling. For example, those with disability or those with special needs, some children, some adults, or sometimes the difficulty might be too intense for us to directly talk about it. Also, it is not generally easy to explore or uncover emotions and issues. Some kind of process is required for this, and arts can provide a wonderful medium to do this process. We have to understand that when we are using the arts in counseling, that is as a complementary method, we have to use it in conjunction with other modes and models of counseling. These models and modes of counseling you have been studying so far, and we are not using arts as a standalone therapy here. Let's do a small exercise. Let's recap what we have said so far about the use of arts in counseling. We use arts in counseling, one, for those who are unable to access talking as a method. We use arts in counseling as a process to slowly work with issues and uncover problematic areas of thinking and emotions. Okay, so now let's look at the role of the arts in therapy or in counseling in a more focused way. When we typically use arts, it is like a product, a play or a cinema or a theatre piece. It is also exclusive. Only the artist is supposed to be doing it. All others are consumers. We pay and we buy a ticket and then we go to consume the art. However, in therapy, it is not like that. But here, when we are thinking of using arts for healing, in counseling, in resolving issues, it is called the applied use of arts. Here we are using it in therapy, then this use is called arts in therapy. So how exactly does that explain how we use arts in counseling? What is the process? When we use the arts in or for therapy, we are not doing it to put up a play, to do a show to others, to exhibit our paintings. Then how do we use it? We use the process of engagement with the arts in the counseling or therapy space. We actually participate with the use of body, voice in the artistic process. We design various games and exercises based on the artistic elements and use them as part of our counseling process. We use imagination, we use stories, metaphors and various examples to enrich the counseling interaction. When we are using it in applied sense, it is integrated. which means we don't have to specialize. In counseling, when we are using the arts, we can be using a story and sing a song, or use rhythm, or create a play. The arts are interconnected there. They are not exclusive but integrated. They are also accessible to everyone, which means the therapist and the client both participate in the process of the art making. And third and most important thing is, it is experiential, which means the understanding of the arts and the experience is not taken passively but by participating in it. Let us explore an active example. Here is a story, I will share it with you. It is called A Story and a Song, and it is a traditional Indian folk tale. This tale in some way represents the arts and their use in healing context. So the story goes something like this. Once upon a time, long time ago, maybe 400, 500, 700 years ago, there lived a woman in a village. The woman knew a story, she knew a song, but she never told the story to anyone, never sang the song to anyone. Now the story and song were imprisoned inside her and they were suffocated. They decided, at the first chance that we will get out and take revenge on this woman. Of course, the woman had no clue about any of this. One afternoon, after the woman had finished her morning chores in the house, she laid down on a chatai to sleep, to have an afternoon nap. As she slept and dozed off, her mouth remained slightly open. This was their chance. The story kept out of the woman's mouth and went near the door and stood in the form of a man's chappals. The song also came out and transformed itself in the shape of a man's coat and hung itself on a peg. The woman had no clue. She woke up from her siesta and then she continued her chores in the evening. In the evening, the husband came back from work. He was working in the fields most likely, and the moment he entered, he saw a pair of man's chappals and a man's coat in the house. So he came inside and asked his wife, is someone visiting? Someone from your family? The woman looked at the man askance and she said, what? No, no one is visiting, no one has come here. The man said, no, I am asking because there is a pair of man's chappals and there is a man's coat. The woman said, where did it come from? I have no clue. What started as a mere conversation between them, you can imagine, soon erupted into a fight. He said, how come you don't know what is going on in the house? There is a man's chappals and a man's coat and you say you don't know where it came from. And she said, how should I know, poor thing? I am working the whole day, and so on and so forth. Immediately it became a big fight. The husband was so riled, he was so upset that he picked up his blanket and he said, I am not going to sleep here today anymore. I will leave the house. And he went away. And the poor woman, she had no clue. She kept on wondering, where did this pair of chappals come from? Where did this coat come from? And late into the night, she finally went off to bed. Now in this village, remember that it's a traditional Indian folk tale. In this village, outside the village, there was a small Hanuman temple. And in this temple, after all the lights were put out from the home, they would gather in the night for gossip. The flame from the woman's house that night, of course, was late coming to the temple, because the woman was awake late into the night thinking, oh, where did this pair of chappals and coat come from? As soon as the light from the woman's house came, all the other lights surrounded her and asked, Arre, what happened? Why are you late today? The flame, the light from the woman's house said, Arre, what to tell you? We had a big fight in our house. Immediately everyone was very excited. They wanted to know about the fight. And then she explained that there was a pair of man's chappals and a coat in the house. The husband asked the woman about it. Woman couldn't explain it, and so they had a big fight. Of course, one of them was a little smarter, so she asked, oh, So, does that mean that the woman is lying, or she really does not know? So, the light from the woman's house said, "Are no, she really does not know. Actually, she knows a story and a song, but she never told the story to anyone, never sang the song to anyone, and as a revenge, they came out and took the form of chappals and the coat." All the flames and the lights laughed at this. Some of them commented, "Oh, these human beings also na," and continued their conversation. All through this time, in the corner under the blanket, there was someone listening. Who do you think it was? Of course, it was the husband who had gone away in a huff and anger. He listened to this conversation and he suddenly felt something. He rushed home. He woke up the woman. He said, "Come on, wake up. You must tell me your story. You must sing your song." And the woman, poor woman, rubbing her eyes, she woke up, looked at him and said to him, "What story? What song? I don't know anything. What story? What song?" And this, my dear friends, is a very, very old story. And it in some way symbolizes to us why it is important to sing our songs, to tell our stories. And this is where arts come into play in the counseling process, to explore oneself, to express oneself, and to have an insight and understanding of life. Arts play a vital role. So, this is the beginning of arts in therapy. Now, let us reflect together on this story. What does the woman lose? The woman loses her story, her song. It is the creative power within us that we are talking about. Why are the story and song important? The story and the song are important because they in some way represent our personality, our creative power, the uniqueness of each person. How does this story relate to our life, to your life? This story in some way underlines the importance of expression and communication in our lives. How does this story relate to the process of counseling? It is very important that we should listen, and listening to oneself and to others is very, very empowering. In summary for today's session, we can say that in counseling, we are creating a space to retain, recall, and work with one's own story and song. The one who understands the importance of expressing this story in life and therefore helps others to do the same is a counselor. A counselor can use the arts, stories, songs, drama, paintings as methods to help others. How do these arts-based techniques and therapies work? Specifically, the Indian model of ABT, arts-based therapy, drama therapy? We shall see that in the next module. Till then, bye.